The Dieudonné brothers have waited a long time for this day. For the past 29 years, they've been searching for the grave of their uncle, Jacques Dieudonné, who died in a plane crash on the 28th of April 1951 during the Indochina Wars. In this garden in northern Vietnam, authorities are about to exhume a coffin they hope contains his remains. A few blows with a pickaxe and the casket is finally opened.
We saw exactly what we were expecting: bones, human remains. I feel very emotional when I think that this is the person we were looking for.
It pains me, but it's also liberating. This marks the end of a very long process, a quest that has taken ages.
The brothers face a further wait, this time for the results of DNA analysis that will confirm if the bones belong to their uncle and 3 other airmen who died in the crash. Their search continues the following day. Dieudonné's nephews are here to retrace his footsteps, this time by car. They attempt to meet former Vietnamese soldiers who might be able to shed light on what happened to the plane that day.
What we are looking for is information from men who are more than 90 years old. Only they can tell us about that plane crash.
Their first stop is Tat Khe Chapel, which was turned into an infirmary for wounded French soldiers during the Battle of the Route Colonial 4 in 1950.
The people who were brought here owed their lives to the treatment they received from nurses in the village. Even Vietnamese soldiers were looked after here. They survived and then later told their stories.
The route, also known as the Blood Road, was strategically important during the Indochina Wars, serving as the main supply route for Vietnamese cities held by France. But its location caused problems for the French forces. Set deep inside thick forests and rocky cliffs, it gave the Vietnamese a major advantage. Jacques Dieudonné's B-26 plane was flying over the area when disaster struck.
I think we are at the place where the plane began spiraling downward before crashing at Cao Bang. It's quite moving to think that it was here that it caught fire and he had to go down in Cao Bang with no hope of returning.
The French suffered their first defeat in the war here in Cao Bang in 1950. The defeat shocked French troops, highly trained soldiers who thought they could easily overcome what they considered to be an army of peasants. This is also the spot where Jacques Dieudonné's plane went down. The 2 brothers are looking for the exact place where the plane crashed. A few meters up the hill, we found the old soldier in his hammock.
Bonjour. Ça va? Khi mà cụ quay về đây năm 54 thì cụ có nhìn thấy cái máy bay. Chỗ nó mới, không phải câu này, không phải đâu.
Min's recollection is at odds with Vincent and Bertrand's information. According to photographic archives held by the French Air Force, the plane crashed on the opposite side.
It's obvious that the plane crashed here and ended up on a sandbank.
Vincent and Bertrand's search ends here. In Hanoi, there are few remnants of the Indochina War, but this cemetery is a reminder of the number of combat deaths, including around 500,000 Viet Minh soldiers. A veteran of the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, who was 17 years old at the time, has agreed to talk to us.
On the 30th of March 1951, from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m., my company had 124 men. On the 31st of March, only 27 of us were left.
After 57 days and nights of fighting in the trenches, surviving Vietnamese soldiers weighed an average of 50 kilograms and their French counterparts 70 kilograms, according to this survivor. The French forces were better trained and better armed, but the Viet Minh were willing to fight to the death.
We overcame lots of difficulties, all the shortages we faced, thanks to our unshakable belief in what we were fighting for, because we were patriots.
The First Indochina War ended at Dien Bien Phu in victory for the Viet Minh on the 7th of May 1954. In July the same year, The Geneva Accord was signed and French forces withdrew from Vietnam. Veterans, including the 91-year-old Du, hope they will live long enough to mark the 70th anniversary of the end of the war.